Thanks for joining us.
You bet.
You've called a lot of games. What do you make of the final 2 minutes or so of that Bengals-Steelers game?
Well, I was telling Kevin Harlan that this really wasn't a wild card game. It was a weird card game. Man, the way that it went down with 30 yards and penalties, the Steelers weren't going to win that game because Roethlisberger couldn't get the ball down the field. The one ball he did try to throw, he grossly overthrew Antonio Brown. That led to the bad hit by Montez Burfict. So, you get 30 yards, you go from a 50-yard field goal after the first 15 to a chip shot after the second 15. It's unbelievable.
All right, I don't know if you got to hear Pac-Man Jones. He said that Antonio Brown was not hurt on the play, that he got up and he winked and went to the sidelines. What do you think of the hit on Antonio Brown?
Well, it was a good call. He took 2 steps and hit him with his shoulder, but he did hit him in the head. Now, if that might have been a wink, Dan, but also could have been a blink. There's a fine line there after you get hit in the head like that. But I did hear Pac-Man, and he's right. Joey Porter had no business being on the field, and the officials blew it. They should have called a 15-yard penalty on him. So it would have been offsetting penalties and a 50-yard field goal try instead of a 35-yard field goal try.
I haven't heard the NFL tell me how they allowed Joey Porter out there because he wasn't even checking on Antonio Brown.
No, and they're not going to. You're not going to hear anything from the NFL on that, except they'll levy a fine against Brown or against Joey Porter for coming on the field. I'm sure that's going to come down today or tomorrow.
The situation with Marvin Lewis here, 13 years, 7 playoff appearances, but they bowed out in the first round. Has he taken them as far as they can go? Is there a ceiling for coaches? And has he hit that ceiling?
Well, not with Mike Brown. I don't think so. I mean, Mike is so loyal to his employees, and this was the best Bengal team that Marvin Lewis has had, and they played better in the second half. In the previous playoff losses, the Bengals had only scored 7 points in the second half in the previous 4 losses. So they came back and got the lead in this one. And then, self-destructed. It's ironic because the guys that Marvin Lewis went to bat for, Montez Burfict and Adam Jones, to be on his team, are the 2 guys that cost him.
Yeah, there's a certain personality there that you got to be careful with, that they can help you, but they can't hurt you. And you saw that. Burfict, may have been the best player on the field. At certain points there. Came up with a big interception, had the sack on Ben Roethlisberger. And then it almost felt like, we're going to win this game. I'm going to leave you with something here. Because he didn't have to. He knew Antonio Brown did not catch that ball. It just felt like he was going to take a little shot at him because of the bad blood that has existed, certainly this whole season between these two teams.
No question. And every little skirmish that happened in the ball game, Burfict was right in the middle of it. So, he wanted to leave a statement there, and unfortunately for Bengal fans, it was the wrong one.
He's Dan Fouts, the Chargers Hall of Fame quarterback. He's got Chiefs-Patriots on CBS TV coming up this weekend. I'm sure you were inundated with phone calls to have you on to talk about the weather in Minnesota, since you played in that freezer bowl in the 1981 AFC title game. Did we make too much of the weather in Minnesota yesterday?
No, I don't think so. I think that the wind was wind is always the worst problem for a quarterback, whether it's 90 degrees or 90 below, because of the shape of the football. And, it affects kickers as well, but not obviously as much as a quarterback. And the field goal that was missed by Walsh was not affected by the wind. That was just an inexplainable type of miss, although, the pressure that a right-footed kicker doesn't want to see is coming right off that right side of his offensive line, and the tendency there is if you see it, and he almost got Sherman almost got to one, is to pull it left. And if you look at his third field goal that he made, he barely made it in that right upright, so he overcompensated basically.
And I'm watching with Rodney Harrison and Tony Dungy, and as soon as that kick happens, Rodney goes, "It's just playoff football." I mean, that's You can kick that. He can do it blindfolded. He could do it left-footed. But when you're doing it with that at stake, it's just something that's there that seems to overtake you. I mean, it's just choking, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, that's a tough word, choking. I mean, the kid mishit it. I mean, did Gary Anderson choke when he missed in the playoffs against the Falcons, when he hadn't missed all year?
Yeah.
It was a similar type of kick. It was from the left hash mark, pressure coming hard from the right side, and he hit it left. I'm not a kicker. Don't ever want to be one. And I don't ever want to hear the word choke.
Chiefs going to the Patriots. Having watched the Chiefs a lot this year, I just feel like you can put pressure on a quarterback and you don't have to blitz. That's such a great advantage, and they have a good secondary here. Handicap what you know about the Chiefs and the Patriots before you probably break down film this week.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is look at their game last year, the Monday night game when the Chiefs won 41-14 in Kansas City. That turned the Patriots season around. It was a wake-up call for them, and they obviously, as we know, went on to win the Super Bowl. But it'll be interesting to see how the offensive line of the Patriots holds up against that pass rush because Justin Houston is healthy. He's back after missing those 5 games. And with Tom Bahali coming on the other side, that's why the Chiefs have so many interceptions, 22 in the regular season. So, and then, the 4 they got last weekend. So that, to me, is going to be the key. And you look at the Patriots, how effective will Amendola and Edelman be coming back off of injury? You got Gronkowski going down the middle, and if the other two are healthy, then it's going to be quite a shootout.
I also saw something with when I'm watching the Packers game with Aaron Rodgers, like just body language there, just to see him smile. There was a moment in that game, Dan, where you could see where Rodgers goes, I got it. Like I lost it and haven't seen it, and I've looked for it, and I have it. And it seemed like he had this calm to him that he knew he was winning that game.
Well, what he also had was Eddie Lacy and James Starks getting yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And that set up the play action. And you saw a couple of times on the play action, Rodgers could get rid of the ball without anybody in his face, without having to extend the play, buy time, rolling out, trying to find a big play down the field. And that's what we'd seen all year long, because Jordy Nelson was out. So finally the running game got going. And look at Randall Cobb. I mean, he's a viable alternative now for the Packers as a tailback. I mean, he looked good.
Yeah. And it was sort of fun to see the Packers offense come to life. But you're right. Once you have to respect Starks and Lacy, then it certainly opens up that passing game.
Well, the other guy we didn't see smile a whole lot this year was Peyton Manning until the last game, too. I mean, I've never seen him so far down in the dumps, that was so visibly obvious. Same type of situation with Rodgers until yesterday.
Do you have to go with Peyton Manning in this game?
I think so. I think you've got to have that experience. And if you ask the Steelers who would they rather face in this game, I'm sure they would say that they would rather face Osweiler, just because of the fact that they just faced an inexperienced quarterback in A.J. McCarron, and that worked out pretty well for them.
Safe travels, Dan. As always, thank you very much for joining us.
You bet, Dan. Take care.
Dan Fouts.